Good morning and welcome to StudyIQ, my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are doing good. Today is 23rd December 2020. Day is Wednesday. I would like to start today's discussion with this quote by Corey Ten Boom. Worry does not empty tomorrow of sorrow. It empties today of strength. That means when you worry too much about something, it will not solve tomorrow's issue, the problems that you may or may not face, right? Our mind creates this thing that we will face this and that, and these are all products of our mind, our fearful mind that creates all these things, and then we worry about those things that will never happen in our life. Worrying is a very bad habit. It is like an energy vampire. It empties today of strength. It will take away all your strength from present moment if you have this bad habit of worrying too much. With this, dear friends, we have 6 important articles on our table. Drone infiltration, very interesting article. Then we have military modernization. It's about S-400, Paris Agreement, consumer is king. Very important article on Quad. And the last one is about pandemic resilience. Big Christmas sale is on all our smart courses. This is valid till 25th December. To find out more about Big Christmas sale, to find out more about our smart courses, download our mobile app. Drone infiltration. This one is from Tribune. Now, dear friends, I remember quite clearly that in this year, 2020, in Daily Financial News Analysis, it's been, I don't remember the exact date, but I'm sure I delivered a special topic on drones. And I talked about how in future drones will be used for this, modern warfare. We need fighter jets. Fighter jets, they are important for defense, but in future, more fighter jets will not guarantee security. We need more drones as well, because enemies are going to use drones to create damage in our country. And we have this very interesting article from this newspaper called The Tribune. Recently, we have seized a box with hand grenades in Gurdaspur, that is in Punjab. And this hand grenade laden box was dropped by a drone. People in Pakistan, right, they used this drone to deliver hand grenades in our country. This is a reminder that enemies are using drones, and not just for hand grenades and not just for small arms and drugs. They are using it for so many other things. They can provide you satellite phones, they can deliver drugs, some other RDX and things, maybe this sort of bombs, ammunition, and so many other things. From trafficking drugs and small arms using flying objects, it is now relying on upgraded versions that can carry larger and heavier payloads. We are going through winter months, and you know that in Jammu and Kashmir, in Punjab, the environment is quite foggy. So this drone penetration is going to increase. It becomes very difficult for our system and our personnel to identify this sort of flying drones. So we have to be more vigilant. 5 days prior to this latest midnight drop, a drone module with international linkages was busted in Amritsar. It is quite intriguing to find that in our country, in national capital, drones are procured, assembled and repaired as well. And the government was not aware about it. The latest investigation has found this link to this. There are a few firms who are illegally producing and procuring and assembling and repairing drones. But I'm not sure if we have more places in our country where this sort of firms are active. So we need to pay more attention. We have to be a bit more vigilant about this sort of drones. In future, they can use drones the size of grasshoppers. small size drones can be used, and they can be used for locating where your military assets are. They can collect all the data and then they can pass it to enemies. So we need those sort of radars that can identify this sort of drones and this sort of flying objects. On top, we need drone management and regulation in our country as well. It is believed that Chinese armed drones are being exported to Pakistan, and Pakistan is using these Chinese armed drones to create damage in our country. So this is going to be the future, and this is the area in which we need to invest and we need to work on. Big deals are good. When we hear that 27,000 crore rupees project or 30,000 crore rupees project has been approved by Defense Ministry, that's good, right? We need those things as well, but we need to add more layers to our security. And drone is something that we need to be very careful about. We need to create more drones in our country. We need to do more R&D. We need to create those sort of radars that can identify even the tiniest drone. Even if you create a drone that is the size of a sort of fly, then as well we should be able to locate and destroy it. So we need to work on it from today itself. With this difference, let's move on. To download the PDF of today's lecture, join my Telegram channel. If you learned something from today's discussion, then please hit the like button. Do share this lecture as well as PDF with other students, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, that is StudyIQ. Military modernization. Now, I'm sure you know that India has placed an order to purchase S-400 system from Russia. On your screen, you can see S-400 system. So it's surface-to-air defense system, surface-to-air missile system. So how it works is that say you have set this S-400 system on one of your border, and then it has radar and things, and it will automatically identify it can automatically identify unauthorized aerial vehicles, and it can automatically launch a missile. So if a missile, incoming missile or fighter jet or anything like that, bigger ones, right? And it will not destroy your drones. It is designed to destroy bigger things like missiles and aircrafts and things. So this is like fire and forget sort of things. Once you place it on your border, then it will look after your security automatically. So it's a very capable thing, and judging by the way things are going on at LAC, this is a very important tool that India requires. As far as capacity of S-400 is concerned, the distance that it can travel is 400 kilometers. So I believe that's why the name is S-400. And the height capacity is 30 kilometers. So it can vertically fly 30 kilometers. So it's quite robust, and it is one of the best. And it is also said that S-400 is peerless. There is no other system that can compete S-400. That's what they say in military circles. Now, the reason why we are discussing S-400 is that Russia has clearly said that it is not going to be afraid of this US sanctions. USA has passed a law in its Congress. It is called CAATSA. I have one question for you. Can you give me the full form of this law called CAATSA? So if you buy things from Russia or South Korea or from Iran, then sanctions will be applied. US will apply sanctions on your country. So Russia has said that we are not going to be afraid of this US sanctions or CAATSA, and we are going to supply this S-400 to India. Interestingly, India has also said that we need this S-400 system, and India has clearly said that we don't recognize sanctions or unilateral sanctions declared by any particular country. India recognizes only UN sanctions. So directly, indirectly, we have said that we are not afraid of CAATSA. CAATSA is a law that is passed by your parliament. It is not passed by UN. So it is not global. It is your domestic law, and you cannot force your domestic law on us. So both New Delhi and Moscow are on the same page, and this statement is an indication that we are going to go ahead with this purchase of S-400. As far as geopolitics is concerned, USA wants India to be in its camp. USA wants India to be in its team. Now, I would like to remind you guys, this point has not been covered by this article, but I would like to remind what our Minister of External Affairs, S. Jaishankar, said a few months ago, that India will maintain its strategic autonomy. That means we are not going to be part of any one particular team. We are a sovereign nation, and we would like to keep good relations with every country. We would like to keep good relationship with the USA. At the same time, we would like to keep good relationship with Russia. We would like to keep good relationship with Saudi as well as Iran, Israel as well as Palestine. So we are not part of any one team, or we are not under any umbrella. In fact, we are independent. And that's how it should be. We are powerful enough to be independent. Yes, there are a few things on which we will be with Russia. There are a few issues in which we will be with the USA, but that does not mean that we are part of your team. On top, one more thing that I would like to share here is that, see, Russia is a big arms exporter, and so is USA. So there is a competition between Russia and USA when it comes to arms export. So here, USA is trying to beat Russia in this competition by launching this sort of laws. So it will try to scare other countries that don't buy things from them, buy things from us. So it's not just about geopolitics, it's also about profits as well. Now, India needs, as I told you, right, judging by LSC issue, we need S-400 system. And the new president is going to be Joe Biden. He's going to take over in, I think, third week of January 2021. So let's hope that the new administration will understand the issues and challenges that India is facing as far as China is concerned. And let's hope that Joe Biden administration will appreciate India's efforts to modernize its military, because we are facing like these two challenges. One is from Pakistan and the other is China. So we have to wait and watch for it. Moving on to third topic. Now this topic is not that difficult for you guys, because we have talked about Paris Agreement in the past as well. When I say in the past, I'm talking about last week. And last week we have talked about it like 2-3 times. And around 12th December as well, we have talked about it. So 12th December 2020 marked this 5th anniversary of Paris Agreement. Now, nationally determined contribution NDCs. I have talked about 1.5 degrees Celsius, why it is important to keep global temperature below 1.5 degrees Celsius. What will happen once we will touch or cross 2 degrees Celsius? I talked about tipping point and so many other things. I hope you remember this, right? And then there is a sort of tug of war between developed nations and developing countries as far as technology transfer as well as funds are concerned. So this was a brief background about the Paris Agreement. Now, Climate Ambition Summit 2020 was conducted on 12th December, and many countries took part in it, and everyone talked about net zero emission. For example, the world has set a target of, particularly Europe has set a target of 2050, European Union to be precise. And this article is printed in today's Hindu. This article is written by Ugo Astuto. I'm not sure whether I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but here is the name of the writer. He is ambassador of the EU, that is European Union. So this article is very important. Now, during the past 5 years, the determination of the global community has certainly been tested, and in the past few months, we have all been hit by a virus with a potentially long-lasting impact on our society and economies. COVID-19 is an eye-opener. I'm sure you know that COVID-19 is a zoonotic disease. A disease or a virus that is not disease but a virus. If it is found in few animals and other species, then it is safe over there. It's fine. It will not damage that particular species. But if this virus enters human world, then it can create catastrophe. And that's what COVID-19 has done with our world. So this is an eye-opener that because of climate change, so many species, living organisms, right, they are gone forever, vanished from this planet. So this wall that was there, we find so many holes in this wall. And these viruses and bacteria and other zoonotic diseases are entering our world. And if we don't sort this thing out now, if we don't take a step today, then the future is going to be very bleak for the next generation. To reach climate neutrality by 2050, on 11th December, EU leaders unanimously agreed on the 2030 target of reducing greenhouse gas emissions by at least 55% compared to 1990 levels. So the amount of GHG, that is greenhouse gas, that was emitted back in 1990, the EU will try to reduce it by 55% by 2030. And this is achievable because if you see in last 9-10 years, the cost of solar photovoltaics has gone down by 82%. Remember, 10 years ago, it was very rare to find the solar panels on top of on your rooftop, right? But these days, it is a very common thing. We see so many images and things, that are taken from drone, and we find that nearly out of 10 houses, you will find 3-4 houses, they have solar rooftop. So it is expanding, and it is a good thing. We can produce our own electricity from our rooftop. Achieving the 55% target will even help us to save 100 billion euro in next decade and up to 3 trillion euro by 2050. And India is a very important player as far as this climate change targets are concerned. Remember, 18% population of the world is living in our country. So if we do something good, then this the impact or positive effect of this thing will be visible and will be felt by the whole world. India took many important steps, like Prime Minister Modi said that we are going to be overachiever. We are going to exceed our commitments. We are going to achieve more than what we have committed. India launched the International Solar Alliance, the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, the Leadership Group for Industry Transition, and so many other things. And India and Team Europe together, they are going to make sure that this Glasgow COP26, that is a Conference of Party 26th meeting, that is going to take place in Glasgow. Both parties, India and Team Europe, will do their level best to make sure that this next COP26 is a big success, and we in the sense the world will be able to deliver to what we have decided. And COP15 in Kunming. Where do you find Kunming? Tell me. In which country you find this city, Kunming? Stick your answer in the comment section. Like, COP15 in Kunming is going to be on biodiversity. So it's going to help each other. Climate change summit as well as biodiversity summit is going to complement each other for sure. Now, together with the delivery of $100 billion of climate financing to countries most in need. Now, remember I explained you this thing that under Paris Agreement, it was decided that by 2020, every year, developed nations will together, contribute $100 billion. A fund will be created, and this money will be used by developing nations for upgrading their power plants, for adopting new technologies, buying new panels, and so many other things. But when it comes to giving money, developed nations, many of them, they are it's like, all barking and no biting. They have made big promises, but when it comes to giving money, they are very stingy. So we need to sort this thing out in COP26. Hopefully we will find a solution for this thing, because this is very important. And overall, that's what we find here in this article. And this is something that is very logical, that yes, at global level, various different countries are working, but that is not going to be enough. At national level, at state level, yes, your state, your central government is working to make sure that we see this fast transition from non-renewable to renewable source of energy. But to achieve to stop this climate change and to achieve this this carbon neutrality, what we need is individual efforts. Even if you can close that tap, running water tap, if you can close it, then that's going to add, right? Every drop will count. If you are leaving your room and if you shut off your light, air condition or fan, right, this sort of things. If you are waiting for someone, then make sure that you turn off the ignition of your car or motorcycle. We can do this thing at traffic lights. So every individual action is going to be very helpful. Without individual action, I don't think so we would be able to achieve, the world won't be able to achieve its target. Moving on to next item, consumer is king. This one is from Indian Express. Now, central government notified the Electricity Rights of Consumers Rules 2020. Very interesting rule, but I'm worried about its implementation. So this particular rule keeps the end consumer at the very center of power distribution setup. Now, you know that when it comes to your mobile phone, you can keep your number and you can change the service provider. It's very easy these days. 10 years ago, it was very difficult. You cannot keep your number. Once you switch over to another network, then your number will be gone. But these days, it is very easy. But when it comes to electricity, right, we don't have any option. It's like a clear monopoly of discoms. In your area, if one particular discom is there, then you cannot expect that another discom will provide you services. That if you want to switch over, that's not possible these days. So because these discoms, they have this absolute monopoly when it comes to power distribution, they are not delivering that good services. And because of that, so many people, right, they face power shortage or power outage, and many a times you apply for connection and it takes ages for a discom to connect you with electricity grid. So to stop all these things, government has came out with this rule, and it talks about compensation. Now there are 11 areas that are covered by this new rule, and discoms will now have to compensate consumers for long power cuts, delays in granting electricity connections, and other such lapses in services. If you are living in a city and if you apply for electric connection, you should get it by 7 days. If you are living in municipal area, then 15 days, and in rural areas, maximum 30 days. Failure to comply with this timelines will result in penalties. That's a good decision. But the only question is about its implementation. How this will be implemented, right? That's a big question, right? The intention is right, but I'm worried about implementation. Moving on to next item, the next step for Quad. Very, very interesting article. Now, you know things about Quad, so I'm not going into the details of Quad. These days we hear T12, Tech 10, Democracy 10. These are some multilateral mechanisms that are proposed by various different countries. Now, UK proposed D10. So I have one question for you. Question number 2 or question number 3, in fact, right? Question number 3 is, give me the names of all the countries that are part of or that will be part of this D10 group that is proposed by UK. Stick your answer in the comment section. Now, when it comes to this regulation, right, we know that European Union's regulations are very, very robust and they are very heavy. USA prefers a less restrictive approach as far as technology companies are concerned, and India is considering data localization and things. The reason why we are discussing this thing under this Quad topic, because Quad is about military partnership between these 4 countries, Australia, USA, India and Japan. And the main purpose of Quad is to control this non-peaceful rise of China. But one thing that these 4 countries together can do is they can set up a semiconductor supply chain. Very, very interesting point of view by the writer of this article. You find this article in Hindustan Times. So, semiconductor is the heart or the brain of your mobile phone, your washing machine, your wristwatch. I'm talking about smartwatch. And so many other things, right? These days, everything is getting more and more. We are using digital technologies. So, Semiconductor is a very, very important thing. It's like, as I told you, heart and brain of your device. Now, the semiconductor industry underlies all critical technologies. It is perhaps the most globalized, high-value supply chain, and no country can become entirely self-sufficient. We all need each other, and remember, this is a globalized, high-value supply chain. All four countries have complementary strengths in the semiconductor supply chain. When it comes to USA, for example, right? USA is a dominant force in chip design. 4 of the world's top 10 companies or 10 chip makers are USA, or they are American. Electronic design automation tools and R&D, USA has invested heavily in this area. So USA is one important player. So this is USA's strength. Now, when you design something, you want to make it more precise. And when it comes to precision and capital investment, then Japan is a country. Japan is very famous for precision work. So we can use Japan here. Australia is not that significant as far as semiconductor industry is concerned, but it has solid raw material. It is largest producer of lithium, which is used in our batteries, mobile phone, electric vehicles, laptops, etc. Australia is also one of the leading suppliers of neodymium. Neodymium is used in powerful electromagnets that are critical for electric vehicles. And as far as India is concerned, we have large talent pool. We have people. And annually 3,000 chips are designed in our country. Most top foreign semiconductor companies have established their design and R&D centers in our country because of this talent pool. And India also has proven excellence with electronics and product assembly. We can manufacture these things. So together, if these 4 countries come together, right, we can create a global supply chain. We can keep China out of it. We would need investment of $12 to $20 billion. Now, this is a very big amount, but you don't have, it is not going to come out from pocket of USA or Australia or Japan or India alone. Together, Quad countries can form a consortium to fund a semiconductor foundry. So here, this article is talking about a sort of Quad Silicon dialogue. That's what Quad needs, right? If you want to beat China, it's not just in defense. You need to beat China in this Quad, semiconductor or chip making industry as well. This is going to hurt China very bad. Pandemic resilience. Now we know, dear friends, in our country, right, as far as health industry is concerned, it is dominated by private players. The report of Parliamentary Standing Committee on Home Affairs is calling for a comprehensive public health act. During this arrival of pandemic, we realized that we have out of 100, for every 1,000 patient or every 1,000 people, we have 0.55 beds available in government hospitals. This is not enough at all. And private sector, this hospital industry is highly commercialized, and not everyone can afford these services. So we learned our lesson from this thing. And then we have this insurance penetration, which is very low in our country. Not every one of us, we have this health insurance. Not every family member. If you find some people, they have health insurance, but that is only for mothers and fathers. The youngsters, they don't have insurance. And COVID-19 and other diseases, they have no age limit, right? They affect every one of us. So we need to expand. We need to we need to make sure that this insurance is we have a sort of universal coverage as far as insurance is concerned, and cashless facilities should be provided. These days, this private insurance players, they have increased their premium by 25%, and this is very shocking that IRDAI has set 65 as the maximum age of entry. So if you don't have any insurance, and if you are 66, and if you want to take an insurance, then you will not get insurance because the upper limit is set by maximum age of entry is 65. So this is also not right. The government needs to to remove this age limit. There should not be any age limit. as far as insurance is concerned. Of course, the risks are going to be high when it comes to from profit point of view. This insurance companies will be worried, but we have to see everyone has to give up something. Private players, they have to take a little bit of loss. They cannot just focus on profit, and government should make sure that everyone is insured. And just insurance is not going to help. If you have insurance, if I have 1 crore rupees worth of insurance, but if I visit a hospital, if there is no bed available, then this insurance is not going to help me. So we need to make this right to health a sort of legal as well as a part of our fundamental right. For that, we need to work holistically. We need more doctors, we need more nurses, we need more hospitals at every level, primary, tertiary, secondary. And at the same time, a few days ago, we talked about this thing, that these things are not going to be enough. We need to fight climate change. We need to have clean air, clean water, clean food, right? All these things together will deliver, or then we would be able to achieve our health targets. So that's basically everything about this article, and these are some news items. I want you guys to download the PDF and go through it, make the most out of this big Christmas sale. I will see you soon with daily financial news analysis. Till then, enjoy your studies. God bless you all. Jai Hind.